Most hiring algorithms would scream me out.
Senpai.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Bone Zone. I'm your host, Zychusk here, bringing you another episode of anything, whatever I do here. Today we're going to try to hop back into something I tried to do before, and it just kind of went a little south, but we're going to try something different. That being to try to Pokemon Nuzlocke, I should say accurately, to Nuzlocke challenge every mainline Pokemon game, maybe some side games depending. Give me one sec. Give me one moment here. Something a little different. I'm just trying to fix some last minute things here. adjusting something real quick here. Go back to what we had. So, we got that there. So, where was I? Okay, so, I'm going to do a thing where, so for those who do not know, in general terms, we're going to be playing Pokemon, which is a game where you collect fantastical creatures with powers and abilities, and you use them to battle other people with fantastical creatures with powers and abilities until you can become the very best. In order to do that, you have to beat 8 specified elite trainers called gym leaders, and then once you defeat them, you take on sort of like the final trial, where it's four individual trainers that are deemed the best, along with the champion who is the best. So it's a game that came out very, very soon in the early 90s. However, the Nuzlocke part of it is sort of a fan set of rules that has become very popular, widespread. So what a Nuzlocke means is, so anytime a Pokemon faints, which means their HP goes to 0, instead of in a normal game where you just can heal them, revive them, etc. the next time you're able to at a Pokemon Center or whatnot, with a Nuzlocke, they are considered dead or unusable, and in most cases people release them, which is like a permanent way to get rid of them, to signify that they are dead. I do that, but I kind of do that at the end of a run in order to kind of just like have like a memorial service for those who did fall. Another thing is the Pokemon that I have available to me will be a lot more limited, because I am only allowed to catch the first Pokemon I encounter anytime I go into a new area, which can include things like grass or caves or water and anything in between. The only exception to that rule is a duplication clause, which is if I've caught a Pokemon, or in my case, have like the Pokedex entry complete for that, whether by catching it or evolving it from a lower stage, I don't have to. Audio's loud. Okay. Volume. I say, how's that? Is that any better, or is it still a little loud? Okay. So where was I? Yes, so the duplication clause. So like, for example, one of the earlier Pokemon we encounter is like a Pidgey. Slowly but surely. So if I catch a Pidgey and then I encounter another Pidgey further on down, that does not count as my encounter, and that is a duplication because I've already caught that Pokemon. The same cannot be said for the evolution of it, Pidgeotto. So if I have a Pidgey but have not evolved it and encounter a Pidgeotto, that is my encounter. But if I do evolve it, then it becomes a duplication. Another thing is, another common thing, and definitely a very important thing, is to name your Pokemon. Now, the reason you name a Pokemon is because it's supposed to let you build more of a bond with it. It has a little bit more emotional attachment to that. So, because of that, like, every loss kind of hits a little bit harder. And then I believe that's it for the basis rules. Special rules. In this particular game, it won't matter, but any future game after this that I do, there is a line of Pokemon that start from, which is Larvitar, Pupitar, and Tyranitar. It is my favorite line. If I encounter it for any reason, even if it would not normally be my encounter, or if I've already had my encounter, I am allowing myself to catch it because it's my favorite. The other special rule is for every Pokemon death that we have at the end of the stream, we will be I will be donating $1 towards the charity called Doctors Without Borders. They try to help do medical services for people in need in countries that don't normally able to. We will do that at the end of the run, not necessarily the episode, but the run itself. I will keep a track of it. And like I said, we'll do that at the end of the run. And if I black out or white out, it does not reset. It will keep going from there. So with that said, we are going to talk through the intro, which is Professor Oak. He's explaining our magical creatures. And okay. One thing I always do. Yeah. Give me 1 second. So I always do my actual name. And I will always name the rival Nuzlocke. Still have no idea why that keeps doing that. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go to our little computer that we have in our room. We're going to take this little potion out, which is a healing item. We're going to say hi to our mom. And in order to save a little bit of time, because I know how the intro goes, so we're just going to go right into that instead of talking to everybody. So the one thing that Professor Oak kind of explains is like you can't really go into tall grass or anything like that because that's where wild Pokemon live. And if you don't have a Pokemon yourself, you kind of don't have the ability to go there safely. That is a very good question. I think I am going to go with Charmander, mostly because it's my favorite, and it's also the next one right next to me, so I don't have to move that much. And I apologize for any time this little error comes up. There's a little issue with the save file thing, but I do not currently know how to fix it. Luckily, it's just a click a thing here. So, the nicknames, in some circumstances, I will do it by like a roulette to make a theme. But today, since it's the first one that we're doing that, I'm going to name them myself with whatever just feels right. And today, I don't know why, but my Charmander feels like a Susan. Give me 1 sec, I gotta... There we go. So now, immediately, our rival, we picked a Pokemon, we picked our starter Pokemon, which is the first one we ever get. This is where a 10-year-old boy who just left home for the first time. We chose Charmander, which is a fire type. Up until a very late point in the series, the rival will always pick the type you're weak to. So in this case, the rival picked Squirtle, which is water type, because it's better against fire type. However, generally, the first fight, it does not matter for quite a while. Okay. Okay. So we got a crit, and it went from 16 to 9. Which means his crit, if he crits, he does 7 damage. So I think we're okay with trying to scratch here. So if he does get the crit, So that's a situation where we're definitely going to heal up with the emergency potion that we have here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. My cats decided to start fighting all of a sudden. Okay. Okay. So, another common thing. I mean, obviously, you want to win the first fight if you can. However, under most circumstances, the Nuzlocke does not officially begin until you receive Pokeballs to catch more Pokemon with. And that is the rules we will be abiding as well. I just, again, wanted to make sure I get the fight to go my way, because it gives you more XP that way. So we're going to go here. Going to talk to my mother, because she heals us. Don't ask how a fire lizard slept in a nice cozy cotton bed. So we're going to go through the grass upwards from our hometown. So this is the Pokemon I mentioned earlier. This is Pidgey. It's one of 2 Pokemon that can appear on this particular route. So at this point, I don't need to worry so much about encounters, because again, it doesn't officially start until I get Pokeballs. So we will be just knocking any Pidgey out the way. This is Jeffrey. He's a jerk. He likes to block our way when we want to take a nice easy shortcut. So, for those who are not fully aware of how the games work, Pokemon, like when you're actually fighting, is a turn-based game. Who goes first is determined by your speed. And then from there you select moves that deal damage. Even though a move will say it does so much damage, it's generally the medium of the range that it can actually do. So like if a move says it does 50 damage for base power, that's just the medium. So a low roll can be less than that and a high roll can be more than that. What determines that the high roll and low roll is kind of random. Other than that, it's fairly somewhat consistent for that. Another thing to note is critical hits, which are moves that deal twice as much damage. There's a chance, it's a % chance to do it. However, in the first game, it's not quite how it's supposed to be, because your critical hits are not a set rate. It's kind of based off of how fast your Pokemon is. So it's not as fair, so to speak, in that sense. but generally I don't think they should be as frequent, so I don't believe it should be an issue. So this is kind of like introducing the other pseudo goal with Pokemon, which is to collect all of them so that you can record their data. In this game, at this moment in time, there is 151 Pokemon. Under normal means, only 150 are accessible, but as per a Nuzlocke, that will not be our goal, so I will not be as focused as much. The only time I'll probably pull the Pokédex out is to show if I have a duplication clause, or to double check it at least, I should say. Yes, that is also true. So in this particular game, some moves don't work as applied. Some things are a little bit stronger than others because certain mechanics don't work as intended. One of the mechanics that does work, however, is anytime you get a badge, or I don't believe it's every badge, I think it's a certain badge. So, like, the first badge gets you increased defense, I believe. But it increases the defense of all of your Pokemon by 10%, I believe. Or 1%. Or it's a very specific number. So, as we collect badges, things will get more and more powerful for our team. And we have Jeffrey being a jerk again. Come on, Jeffrey. Move your butt. Thank you, Jeffrey. Oh, my lord. And now we... So, one thing to note, as we battle, our Pokemon gain experience, which levels them up, which increases their stats, can give them new moves, or even straight up evolutions, which are strictly more powerful versions of themselves. Okay, so Now that we are back into the first town, we're going to talk to this gentleman here. And we are going to buy 15 Pokeballs. Because that is the amount we can actually buy here. So, now we can begin the Nuzlocke challenge, and we have our first encounter. So, Route 1, there are 2 Pokemon that can spawn in this grass. That is Pidgey and Rattata. Generally, in this generation, Rattata is not as great. The one thing it kind of has going for it is normal type is still... Yeah, that's what it was. That's correct. It was by that much. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, I am getting a little something happening at the moment. Okay. Sorry about that. So, I was talking about the encounter. So, in this route, it is either Rattata or Pidgey. Rattata is generally not as strong, as I mentioned before, because it doesn't get its abilities quite yet, which can make it really decent. However, what it does have going for it is normal type attacks are physical in this generation, which are its biggest stat. So it's not entirely a bad possibility. However, what we really do want is Pidgey, because it's a flying type and it can give us some early game advantages. Okay. So we're gonna hit it once. That's the wrong menu. Alright, let's catch us a Pidgey. Oop-a-doop. Alright, we are gonna name our Pidgey Nuggies. So far we have Susan and Nuggies. So we're gonna heal. So it's actually gonna be a solid little bit before we actually get to our first gym. But in the meantime, we are going to go and find us some more encounters. So this one, I believe there are... Actually, before we do that one, I want to do another one to kind of make my odds a little bit better here. And before that, I want to go up this way. We're going to touch a tree and get a free potion, because there are somewhat hidden items here. So in this grass, there is 4 Pokemon, one of which being Pidgey. So having already caught a Pidgey, it narrows it down to 3. We have Caterpie, Rattata, and I believe Weedle. If it's not Weedle, it's Metapod. Again, Rattata is not really the aim here, but it is what we got. So because of that, once we catch it, oh, I definitely will. Thanks for stopping by. I keep forgetting that the items are down here this generation. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna name this Rat Jam, because memes. Hold on one moment. I just noticed that we're a little... No, that's not it. Okay. not it either. Oh, we definitely can't do that. That's a little too small. Okay. So now that we've caught Rat Jam, we are going to go back to that other route. So, in this one, there's kind of one Pokemon we generally want more than anybody else. I do appreciate that. Thank you. So the one Pokemon we definitely want above any of the others in this grass is Nidoran Male. The reason is because it's a poison type, which has quite an interesting number of resistances this early in the game. And on top of that, we can evolve it fairly early into a really strong Pokemon. And because it has a lot of offensive stats as compared to Nidoran Female, it's going to be a little bit more valuable in that regard. Okay, so that's a Rattata, which is a Dupe's Claws. Oh my lord. Okay, so that's our first death here. Oops, give me 1 second. Screens here. I'm just making sure I get my thing correct here. Oop. That's a little too big. Okay. We're gonna just bring out Susan. Alright. Okay, so our counter is Nidoran female, which is not ideal, but it is something that we still can use for resistances, so... Oh, excuse me. Okay, so currently we have three members, I should say, because we did just have Rat Jam die on us. So one thing I will say, whenever I do have a death, as I said before, I will not immediately release it. Instead, what I will do is I will put it in a box. If I get the ability to name it, it will be named Cemetery. And at the end of the run is when we will do the sort of memorial service there for that. So, now that we have our encounters, we are going to go up. So what I think we're actually going to do is we're actually going to put Nuggies up front, because the area we are about to enter is called Viridian Forest, and it has a majority of bugs in it. So, depending entirely on our encounter, we could get a bug, another bug, evolved form of either of those two bugs, or on the very, very extremely rare case, which I don't believe it will happen, a Pikachu, which is, you know, the most common Pokemon anyone can pick up off the street and go, oh, I know what that is. Ideally, if we get any of the bugs, we actually want the unevolved forms, because that the unevolved forms have the move Tackle, which is the earliest damaging move that most Pokemon get. However, it's like, okay, so why is that a big deal? The reason that's kind of a big deal, that's supposed to be up there, by the way, is because when you catch the evolved form just as the evolved form, the only move it knows is Harden, which makes it a very much more difficult to train. So either of them, we want either Caterpie or Wheel, if we get any of the bugs. That's our ideal encounter here. Dream encounter is Pikachu, obviously, but I don't expect it. Okay. So Caterpie is our encounter, which is actually the base form. So that's actually one of the more intended ones we've got here. We're gonna do one small gust, and hopefully it doesn't hit it too hard. Okay, that's fine. Let's see if Pokeball will do anything now. No. Alright, Caterpie's caught. Alright. Click. Alright. Trying to think of what we should name this. I think we're gonna call them Flippers, and the name will pan out later down the line. Funny enough, he's actually a higher level than a lot of our Pokemon. Okay, so with catching that Caterpie, our encounters are kind of locked until after the first gym. So we kind of have to make do with what we have here. The first gym is Brock, which is, as if you could not tell, a rock-type gym leader. So one thing to note with Pokemon is there are, in this game, there are 16 types. After this generation, there's more than that. Or sorry, technically there's 17 types at the moment. But one is going to be not very relevant because it's like on one move and no Pokemon actually has it. Every Pokemon has at least one type, sometimes two. Some types have weaknesses to other types, some have resistances to others. Some, in rare cases, have full-blown immunities. So that'd be like, for example, a ground-type Pokemon trying to hit a flying-type Pokemon with a ground move. It's not going to happen, because a Pokemon can just fly away. So, Brock is a rock-type gym leader, which means he has resistance to every single one of our Pokemon, and ours don't have really that much strong moves against them at this point, especially since we chose Charmander. Since it's the fire type, it doesn't have the ability to really compete with that, as far as like if it tried to use nothing but its own moves of like tackle for or scratch in this case. Luckily though, one thing that kind of gets overlooked frequently, especially in this generation, is even though Brock has rock type Pokemon, none of them have rock type moves. He only has normal type moves. So we don't have to worry about him like one-hit KOing our Pokemon or putting them in extreme danger zones very quickly. We're just trying to do a little bit of training here. That would definitely not live another attack, let alone a crit, so we're going to heal there. Again, I don't think we can live on a crit here. So the dangerous thing of this forest is the other base form of the bug Pokemon in this forest, which is Weedle. The reason is because it is a bug poison type, and its main move that it gets right off the bat is Poison Sting. Poison Sting has I believe it is a 15% chance to poison the target, which is kind of bad. So what it essentially means is while it's in battle, it takes 1/16 of damage of it from its health, from its max health. However, outside of battle, for every 4 steps you take, it takes 1 damage to the Pokemon just by walking. So what's deceptively dangerous about that is if you get poisoned in this forest, you can go for quite a while between a place to heal, and you could straight up lose a Pokemon that way. So we do have to kind of be a little careful of that. There's, I believe, it's either 2 or 3 trainers that have Weedles in this forest. And I believe one of them is mandatory. I believe so. I could be very wrong on that. What I am going to try to do every fight, because I mean, one would think, oh, well, wouldn't you want to try to avoid those? However, the problem is those are also wild Pokemon that you can encounter in the forest. So it's kind of a redundant point, other than reducing your numbers of seeing it by a very small margin. The one thing I will say, though, is I will try to run away from Weedles, because I don't want to risk that this early. If I was a little higher level with my stuff, I might feel a little more comfortable. But we are going to still fight the trainers because I need the experience. So this is the first Weedle. So what we are doing is we are using Sand Attack, which reduces the opponent's accuracy by 1 stage. Stats and accuracy, evasion can be reduced by reduced or increased by 6 stages. So we have full on made this 6 stages of not being able to hit something. So while it still can hit, it's very unlikely. And that was a critical hit, so that's actually really good. So like I said, there is still a chance to hit. It's just significantly lowered, which is a very valuable thing indeed. With this thing having Poison Sting. Alright, we got through first Weedle. Now, because we got through the Weedle, the only thing I have to be worried about now with this fight is just to not get carried away and let Nuggies die. I think do one attack and then switch out the flippers. Or whoosh. Actually, whoosh. Whoosh is probably more important. Because we need to get that leveled up and evolved quickly. Okay, so I'm gonna take that back out. I'm gonna put flippers in. Okay, so Nuggies is level 7. Okay. So we're gonna go heal real quick, and then we're gonna head back into the forest. And then at 8:30, we are going to take a small break. But until then, we're gonna keep healing up, keep going, try to go through the forest, and try to get our levels up a little bit. So we're going to walk in front of this guy because he's yet another trainer, and like I said, we want to get experience. I can't remember if this guy has a Weedle or not. Yes, he does. Okay. So, one thing to note, so even though this has Poison Sting, we are not concerned with poison for Whoosh because it actually is a poison type. So one thing to note, if you use it, if a move has the ability to do a status effect on a Pokemon, it means that a Pokemon that has that same type is actually immune to that status effect that it could give. So, for example, Poison Sting cannot poison a poison type Pokemon. Or another example, which is far off, which is a move called Body Slam, which has a chance to paralyze the target. However, if the target is normal, it cannot paralyze it. Alright, so in the meantime... Okay, so we're gonna try growling this down a little bit. Ooh, it's a little bit of a slog. Okay, so Cocoon is the evolved form. This is going to be a little bit more of a slog. Because this thing, while being the evolved form of Weedle, has a lot more defense. Which is why, despite that and also the fact that it's hardening, which raises its defense up a stage. So this is what I was kind of actually talking about a little bit. Of why we wanted to get the base forms of the bugs if we did get them, rather than the middle stage. Because, as you can see, even though using Harden a lot has made it a bit of a slog, this thing has not been able to fight back whatsoever. And trying to level up something that way is agonizing. It is possible, but it's very, very, very slow. Excuse me. So we're gonna do our last tackle with Whoosh here. And we're gonna grow this down a bit. So that it's a little bit more safer for flippers to come in. Okay, so we've hit Growl's. Top out on Growl's. Yeah, that's kind of something that's going to make it a problem. Alright. Alright, so this antidote gives us one kind of gives us one get out of jail free card as far as poison goes. But that's the only one I believe we can get through the entire forest. I think this is a Pokeball. Nope, that's a potion. Okay. Okay. So this is the mandatory trainer that I mentioned earlier. So one thing you note, because the early Pokemon games most Pokemon games actually are a tile-based system, so you can only move up, down, left, right. So because of that, the games tend to set trainers in such a way that you straight up cannot avoid them. So they're mandatory fights. This being the first real mandatory fight outside of the first rival fight that you have. Alright, so now that we're out of the forest, we don't have to worry about poison. Because any kind of poison that we could potentially have, we have one get out of jail free card for. And I think there's like maybe one more possibility of that before we get to the next city. So this city has the first gym, but we are going to train a bit. Because a lot of us are underleveled. One thing I do need to check is, because there's one set of rules that I am going by, and that's okay, so for Brock, his highest level is 14, so that's the highest level we can have our Pokemon be until after we beat him. Now, if a Pokemon levels up beyond that in the middle of his fight, I'm not counting that unless... I'm not counting that, so... Funny enough, Whoosh is actually now our highest leveled Pokemon. Even more so than our starter. So we're gonna switch into Nuggies. We're gonna switch into Susan. Come on, Susan. Alright, we are gonna go heal. Ooh, that critical hit actually was kind of good there. Gonna speed things up a little bit. Eeh. Alright, so we're going to heal up here. And then as I mentioned before, we're going to take a very short break. So I'll see you in just a little bit. I'm gonna see if that fixes the issue there. Now we're gonna hold on to that for the Brock fight. I'm doing good. How about yourself? Thank you for stopping by. We're just doing a little bit of training before the Brock fight's all. Yeah, we're switching out. Huh. That is a long distance bagel. That is still rather sweet of her, though. That is rather nice of her, though. Sounds like it. Think this is where we get Ember? Yeah. And now Susan knows how to breathe fire. Alright. So ideally we want to try to get everyone to I'd say a level 13-ish. Aw, thank you. I definitely appreciate that. And you enjoy the rest of your bagels. What's that in here? There we go. Don't know why, but my chatbots was not working for a second. I guess it's not a regular stream of mine if something doesn't go awry. Okay, so now we have reached level 7, which means Caterpie is going to evolve into Metapod. So I do think that for today's stream, I'm gonna end it at like 9:30ish. Just because I'm a little sluggish after work today. Did I just freeze up? Oh, no. Okay. Just accidentally hit pause. Whew. Whew. That was gonna be a little scary. Hi, Giz. Hi. Hi, you. You helping? Are you helping? Chunk, chunk, chunk. You're silly. What you do? What you do? I know your help. Good. Yes. Hey. Get down. Oh, excuse me. Oh, excuse me. Sorry for all the yawning and stuff. Ugh. And also sorry for not talking as much at the moment. This is just the with lack of better words. It's kind of the boring part is the grinding. Oh, first tile. Oh, excuse me. So ideally, we want to get, if we get Flippers up one more level, he will evolve. Flippers will evolve, because this game, in this generation, they don't have genders quite yet. I think we can honestly settle for if everybody gets to level 10 by the end of the stream tonight. I think then I'd be happy. And then anything beyond that is kind of just like, just extra. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I think hopefully by next stream that I should be able to have this save file thing, this save file pop-up kind of fixed here. I'll definitely look into that. I think Flippers learns confusion at 12? I don't think it's right here. Yeah. And now we have, look at them flippers. Look at the flippers on them, right where his feet should be. And that's why we call them flippers. There we go. Whoosh. Whoosh is level 10. Alright, everyone, we're gonna call it there for the night. Alright. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. In the meantime, you can always check out my YouTube channel up there. I put all my previous content there, and you can always catch me live here. I don't believe I'll be streaming anytime this weekend because I do have to work this weekend. There is a slight possibility sometime during the week next week. But obviously, of course, I will obviously be doing the Friday night stream, or sorry, the Friday stream, because I am off that Friday, so I'll be trying to do an all-day stream. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a great night, and I'll see you next time.